As the most central continent in the world, Africa is the perfect center for reaching every section on the globe. Africa is the most profitable region in the world and should be a top option for every business venture because the continent has a high population of adopters, hence a faster business adoption rate than any other continent. Perfect for businesses wanting to invest in the region, Africa has a young and growing workforce, as it is the youngest continent, with almost 60% of its population made up of young people under 25. Therefore, unlike the other parts of the world, Africa has an excess of workers who want and need jobs, making it easy for business owners to access the best talents. As the least developed continent with a fast-growing population, Africa has a massive opportunity for development as its countries are adopting measures to attract investors. With abundant oil, precious metals, and gems, Africa is a resource-rich continent, which for its proximity to the equator is perfect for the emerging and highly profitable renewable industry. Rich in diversity and potential, Africa is one of the most largely untapped regions of the world. Payment solutions. Over $100 billion in transactions are still done in cash in the African continent annually, presenting huge lucrative financial service opportunities for entrepreneurs. Handling more than 200 million person-to-person transactions every year, M-Pesa, found in East Africa, is an example of a phenomenal transformational mobile-based money transfer, which has made millions as profit from the business. Therefore, in the nearest future, more investors in this domain will make more millionaires in Africa. 9. Apps and online services. Nowadays, there's an app or online service for almost anything you want, like hotel accommodation and furniture, among others. The digital revolution is taking over Africa, and so Africa's digital economy is growing really fast. In the nearest future, more apps and online services will be launched to solve problems and provide many more millionaires. 8. Retail. The exhibition ground for Africa's retail market is accelerating beyond the continent's shores. Like ShopRite, Game Checkers, Woolworths, both local and international supermarket brands are expanding in Africa. Amazingly, the contest for retail supremacy in Africa is also happening with e-commerce giants like Konga and Jumia. So far, Africa is the fastest-growing retailers market in the world due to its large and growing middle class, rising local spending power, and a boom in the proportion of expert workers. Currently worth over $1 billion, the retail business in Africa is one which millionaires can emerge from. 7. African art. After many years of neglect, both contemporary and antique works of African art are attracting high prices in the world's major art market. As witnessed from the sale of arts from Mali, Gabon, Liberia, Nigeria, and Ghana, among others, the demand for African art in the world market for art is increasing, and so more investments in the domain will increase the number of millionaires in Africa. 6. Education. Despite being rich with creative and innovative talents due to its high proportion of young population, Africa's human capital is still highly threatened by poor access to quality education. However, a number of outstanding initiatives and businesses are tackling Africa's education problems head-on by establishing incredible low-cost education models. Looking at bridge academies in Kenya, for example, it is evident that the education sector in Africa has the potential of making its investors millionaires. 5. Internet access. Despite Google and Facebook's scramble to improve internet access to millions of Africans, some smart African entrepreneurs have already made impressive moves to conquer the African internet market. For example, BRCK of Kenya has created a rugged internet device designed for harsh environments with limited internet connection and electricity. This African-inspired invention has already sold out through the 54 African countries and abroad in thousands of units, raising millions as profits. This business sector will definitely increase the number of African millionaires. 4. Smartphones. Currently the second fastest growing market for mobile phones after Asia, Africa is at the end of its first mobile phone revolution. The continent's growing population of technology and fashion-savvy presents a multi-billion-dollar market for smartphones, and so there is need for an upgrade from first-generation feature phones to affordable smartphones, since new-age smartphones like Apple are expensive for an average African. Several low-price smartphone brands have already debuted on the African market, and given the market potential for these phones, more millionaire investors in the smartphone business will emerge in the nearest future. 3. Agribusiness. Over the years, agribusiness has been a major potential source of millionaires in Africa. With over 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land, abundant labor, fertile soils, and all-year sunshine, it is regarded as Africa's untapped gold mine and is expected to be worth $1 trillion by 2030. Sub-Saharan Africa has the potential to become world's biggest exporter of food, but still, African countries import more than 70% of wheat consumed, over 300,000 tons of chicken, and spend above $10 billion on imported grains like rice. Nevertheless, with Africa's huge and ready market, more entrepreneurs are interestingly tapping into the vast opportunities, and so in the nearest future, many millionaires will emerge from the sector, as it already is the case in Nigeria and Angola. 2. Solar power. Solar energy, being one of Africa's most abundant energy resources, provides the best alternative for people in remote parts of Africa, who are out of reach of electricity grids. Even though majority of sub-Saharan Africa enjoy more than 300 days of sunlight every year. Over 600 million people on the continent, especially in rural areas, do not have access to reliable electricity. Also, power outages have become the norm in most, if not all, African countries, and so people often rely on noisy petrol and diesel generators. However, smart businessmen are interestingly standing up to the challenge of lighting up the continent through solar energy. Like Off-Grid Electric of Tanzania and M-Kopa of Kenya, many more millionaires will emerge in Africa in the nearest future. 1. Real estate. In almost every part of Africa, real estate projects are coming to the fore. With the continent's vast and youthful population, expanding middle class, improving urbanization, high influx of expatriates and multinational companies, there is a high demand for both commercial and residential real estate. The real estate market in the African continent is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity which in the nearest future will make several new millionaires from its fortunes. The real estate market is currently booming in Africa, especially in Nigeria, Angola, Egypt, Mozambique, Kenya, and South Africa. With over 200,000 millionaires in the continent, most of which are young investors who have created promising businesses and invested in lucrative sectors of Africa's fast-growing economies, the business opportunities keep increasing, and so the birth of many more millionaires. Africa's economy on the basis of these opportunities is therefore on the road to the peak, and so our message to all Africans is of encouragement. Double your efforts once you are able to grab any of these opportunities, for the continent will grow from it. If you enjoyed watching this video, please do not forget to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and become a member of our growing diverse community here on Think Rich Africa. Thanks for watching, and see you in another interesting video.